Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm just going to give you my first impressions of Earthborne Rangers. If you haven't watched my playthrough video on Earthborne Rangers, please go do that before you watch this video, because I'm going to refer to things that happened in that playthrough, and I'm also going to assume that you understand the rules of the game. Keep in mind that there will be a few spoilers ahead. I really want to describe what happens next in my playthrough, because I really think it illustrates why I just love this game so much. So there you go. If you don't want any spoilers and you just want to know my thoughts, I think this game is fantastic. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely for me. So let's get started with where we left off in the playthrough in the last video. My ranger was in White Sky with a basket of juniper biscuits from Chef Pimpot. I had just left the Lone Tree Ranger Station with instructions from my mentor Callispa to hand the biscuits out to the people of White Sky as a way of introducing myself. This was my first mission as a new ranger. Now, the test that I needed to perform in order to give the biscuits to people was spirit energy plus the connection icon. And I needed at least 2 effort in order to succeed. I quickly realized that I had a serious problem. I had purposefully created a ranger that was, antisocial, who didn't understand herself or, really how to interact with others, and instead was intensely focused on crafting gadgets and exploring the natural world alone. She was happiest in solitude, tinkering away on her latest invention, or wandering the forests in search of ancient ruins, things like that. Shaking hands with the locals was not going to be her strong suit. What that means in game terms is that I only had 1 spirit energy and very few connection symbols in my deck. My character just wasn't going to feel comfortable walking up to strangers and offering them biscuits. And I tried. I tried several times and failed miserably. I actually found it incredibly satisfying that the personality of my character was having a very real effect on the gameplay. For me as a player, that was fantastic. For my character, who I named Eva, it was mentally exhausting. I basically just had her stress eat one of the biscuits in response. So basically, I needed to get rid of 3 biscuits, and I ate one of them, so I had 2 left, and really no good way to get rid of the other 2. So I don't know, I was kind of just hanging around White Sky, putting off doing the mission that I couldn't do. Kawisi Voss was annoying me to no end, so I decided to talk to her and ask her about her adventures, which helped get rid of her. She ran back to Lone Tree, but she did mention the potential location for a treasure. So that became a destination that I was definitely going to go after. Just jotted that down in the notes. And then I encountered a character, Elder Mortok Grawl. His test was to listen to the wisdom of the elders using focus energy and wisdom icons, which are my ranger's best traits. And it made sense, like of course she would be drawn to the knowledge offered by a wise village elder. So I performed his test, she passed easily, and the effect was really special. So by listening to the wisdom of the elders, you're able to return a type of card known as a moment card from your hand, and then choose a new moment card that will be permanently added to your deck. This gave me the opportunity to add a card with a connection icon into my hand. I then immediately turned around and used my 1 spirit and this new connection icon in order to successfully give Elder Grawl a juniper biscuit. That little simple interaction just felt so real. Eva felt a connection to Elder Grawl by listening to his speeches and his stories, and that gave her the courage to offer him a biscuit and introduce herself. What I love most is that this moment of character growth is represented in the gameplay by having this new card with an extra connection symbol in my ranger deck permanently. And for me, this is what Earthborne Rangers is all about. This is the heart of the game, and it's why I feel like this game is so special. all this emergent storytelling, was basically just two cards on the table. Or rather, it was like the space between those two cards. The game does some of the work for you, but honestly, your enjoyment of this experience hinges on your ability to savor those little moments and find the meaning buried there. I think a lot of players are going to have a hard time getting into the groove of Earthborne Rangers. They'll be in hand management Euro mode, They will either consciously or subconsciously approach this game like a strategic efficiency puzzle, trying to min-max every turn. And that will only lead to frustration, feelings of this game being grindy or clunky, opinions which I've already seen from people. To me, that's a sign of going into the game with the wrong mentality. I also had to learn to let go of that mentality as well. And once you're able to do that, you start to play the game differently. You rest more often and quicker. You don't try to use all of your energy each round. You stop performing unnecessary tests. Maybe you'll equip a few things and then rest. And then you'll take an action and then you'll rest. Deal with an obstacle, scout, rest, immediately rest again. Every time you rest, the location opens up for you and you're getting new cards into your hand, which is increasing your possibilities. And so before long, you'll discover a location or a person of interest, someone you were waiting for, or something that was a complete surprise. You'll interact, you'll learn, you'll explore some more. Perhaps you'll find a new mission or advance on an old one, or perhaps not. And that's it. That's the game. That won't be enough for some people. But for me, it's glorious. And honestly, my gaming tastes lie on the extremes. I love a tense survival game where resources and actions are tight and you have to carefully plan in the face of a brutal, uncaring world. But I also love the polar opposite of that, which is what Earthborne Rangers is. This is an open world, a colorful world full of possibilities, ripe for exploration and, chill adventures of your own design and your own pace. If you enjoy games like The Lands of Galzir and Sleeping Gods, then I really think you should give Earthborne Rangers a look. It's a very different game. This doesn't have the combat and, the kind of wide-ranging management of Sleeping Gods. And it's definitely more involved and less sort of story-focused than The Lands of Galzir, or Galzer. I forget how that's pronounced. By the way, I've made playthroughs for both of those games, so please go check those out. I think the main thing that these three games get right is they're set in worlds that are just full of interesting things to discover, which makes the exploration fun. It's exciting to go to the next place, to flip over the next card. You want to see everything that each location has to offer because you're usually rewarded for your efforts. The world of Earthborne Rangers feels lived in, and uncovering its mysteries and history is satisfying. And the mechanisms here help to breathe life into the world. The way the challenge system works, where you flip over that challenge card, it modifies your test result, but then it also has a symbol that is going to potentially release these events. And what it does is it has creatures and features interact with you, but also interact with each other and the environment in all these different and interesting ways. Two predators will attack each other, or a predator will attack a prey. Some environmental obstacle might interact with some creature or, this new friend that you've made, and you have to protect them. Oftentimes, as a character, you're on the outside looking at the world sort of moving and interacting on its own. That's fantastic. And a lot of these games, everything just revolves around you. It seems like nothing happens if you're not there in the room to interact with it. You get this real Truman Show effect. Here, the world feels like it's moving on whether you're there or not. This is such a smartly designed system. You can tell the designers have a lot of experience to draw from and a lot of lessons learned, and they've put that into the system. And I want to be sure that I don't forget to mention, one of the things that makes it such a brilliant system is how easy it is to pack this game up and put it away and then take it out and set it up again. This isn't a campaign game that you need to leave set up on the table. And the reason it works so well is these sort of natural breaks in the game, these sort of in-game days. So if you run through your entire deck, and especially if you're sort of traveling from one location to another, and you decide to camp and thus end the day, it's such a convenient place to end the game and pack it away because you got to reshuffle your deck. You have to rebuild that path deck depending on where you're going. You're clearing off all the board and everything like that. So it's really easy to just say, okay, I'm going to stop here, just pack all the cards that you need together in just a stack and put it in the box. And then you just take it out, spread it out, shuffle a couple decks, and you're ready to go. And honestly, that's how I've been playing. I've been just bringing the game out, setting it up, playing a day, and then packing it back away. And then, sometime later, a day or two later, bring it back out, play another day. And I think when you do it at that pace and you don't try to just binge it, then it makes it easier to just appreciate the atmosphere and the environment and the art on the cards and these cool locations. It just works so well if you just take your time and appreciate what's there. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble at this point, so that's my cue to wrap things up. In short, I love this game, but it's not going to be for everybody. I really feel like this is going to be one of those love it or hate it, either you get it or you don't kind of games. I love it. I mean, I haven't finished the campaign, but I'm super excited to. I'm taking my time and loving that. And I'm so glad that it's getting a reprint and expansions, and I really hope this system develops and gets a chance to grow and flourish and have more players try it out. It gets huge recommendations from me if you're into this sort of thing. If you're not into this sort of thing, I don't know that this is going to radically change your mind. But there you go. That's just some quick thoughts on Earthborne Rangers. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.